Hey buddy, JayC here, and welcome to a new live stream. It's been a while, I know, but hopefully you guys have all been doing well. I can't say that it's been a great summer for me. In fact, it's been one of the shittiest summers as I've been dealing with my dad and just everything that's been going on with him. I do appreciate everyone who's reached out and asked about him and everything. I wish I could tell you that he's doing great. Unfortunately, uh, that would be a lie. He had a stroke. For those of you just not familiar, he had a stroke in late June, and before that, he had Parkinson's. He had been fighting Parkinson's, and then when he had the stroke, that just kind of made everything worse. And one of the side effects of all this has just been dementia, memory loss. Like, he has a hard time remembering what day it is, what time it is. It affected the left side, so like he can't see very well anymore. And then there's just been outside factors. His wife, not my mother passed away back in 2007, but my dad remarried actually two times since then. But his current wife actually passed away here just a couple of weeks ago. She had OCPD, and she had in July she had fallen and fractured her hip, and she had surgery to repair that. But when she went into rehab for the hip, she ended up catching COVID, and with the OCPD, it basically it did her in. So it's really been a horrible. I mean, it's been stressful for me, but it's just been really horrible for my dad, and so not been a good summer, unfortunately. And obviously, I've not been around a lot. I didn't go to any conventions this summer. I didn't go, I've been basically focused on my dad. Even though I'm back home right now, I'm still kind of, been focusing on my dad and stuff. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much how things have been going for me. But I don't want this live stream to be super negative, so I definitely want to focus on try and focus on some positive things, some cool action figures, and try and keep it light, just because I could use it. So um, yeah, so let's just kind of dive into it. I figured tonight's main focus, we've got PulseCon tomorrow, 2023 PulseCon. So we'll get some new reveals from various brands, Marvel Legends, GI Joe. So we can kind of talk. I don't have any inside information on what we're going to be seeing tomorrow, but I have some you know educated guesses on what we're probably going to see with some of the brands. And then we can talk about other things. The HasLab, what are you guys thinking of the HasLab? But really, I've talked about it in a couple of news videos, but haven't done any live streams since the Marvel Legend HasLab launch. So I can get your thoughts on that. It definitely has been kind of struggling here. It still has not surpassed 5,000, so it still has not yet gotten to the halfway point. It's getting close to that halfway point. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if by tomorrow during PulseCon it does finally surpass 5,000 backers. But definitely it's been pretty slow going this past couple of weeks. It started off pretty strong and then kind of just tapered off, and I think a lot of people were not impressed with the stretch goals. Before we get anything else, let's just do a quick roll call. So Masterverse Collector in the house. Glad to see you back. Lord Venger, good to see you, my friend. T-Glue, familiar faces. Go Boy, we expect a week or two of lost wages spent in one day. Gnarly Charlie 85, what's up? Robo Geek, yep, shitty summer, yeah. It's I mean, they have these kinds of years. I think everyone ends up having to deal with, and like some of you guys have reached out and talked about how you've had similar issues with your parents and stuff. I mean, it's not fun. I mean, I don't think there's anything that prepares you for having to deal with like when your parents start to get old and you have to start taking care of them and stuff. It is not a fun experience, I'll tell you that. Blake, what's up? Welcome back. Thank you. Sorry to hear about your dad. My thoughts and prayers. Thank you very much. Yep, Lord Wenger, 100%. Getting old sucks. Mr. Alma, hey, good to see you. T-Glue, Chris. Let's see. I lost my place. Salome has arrived, everybody. So Salome is here. RoboGeek says lots of toys tomorrow. Leonard says, I'm sorry, man. Thank you. PulseCon is going to be great. I'm excited for some great Marvel Legends, Blake says. So I'm thinking Marvel Legend. Well, I wrote, I talked about this in yesterday's news video. I think Marvel Legends, the main reveals are going to be that Spider-Man No Way Home wave. We'll probably maybe see some store exclusives and maybe some teases for like figure in the first waves and of next year, what have you. But I really feel like the main focus is going to be on that Spider-Man No Way Home wave. And then, of course, I'm sure they're going to talk more about the HasLab and everything because they're definitely going to be pushing the HasLab, I think, tomorrow for part of the Marvel Legend live stream. Zim says, "What's up, Henry G? Good to see you, my friend. Collectible Fun, what's up? Lord Wenger saying hi to Blake. T-Glue HasLab is a bit underwhelming. I think it was worth the price, but no bells and whistles." Well, see, that's the thing. If you want low cost, then you got to lose the bells and whistles. You got to lose the extra action figures. You got to lose, and so that's kind of the catch-22. I mean, stretch goals are kind of built. They're marketed as like free add-ons, but they're really not. I've said this before. Those costs just get rolled into the campaign. So when they go all out with like cool extra figures and stuff, it's not like those are really free. They're just getting rolled into the price is getting rolled into, it's kind of a combination of the number of subscriber or backers needed plus the price of the item. So all that kind of gets rolled in, but nothing's for free. So if you want lower costs, then you got to be willing to give up other things, and I think that's what Hasbro is trying out this time, since like all the extra figures and stuff didn't really pay off for them in the last year's HasLab. So it'll be interesting to see. I still think it will probably get over 10,000 before all is said and done, but I don't feel very strongly that we're going to get to the stretch goals. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I really think the stretch goals are going to be a push. Rashid, how's it going? How's it doing? RoboGeek says, looking forward to Transformer news and hopefully a super articulated large dragon similar to the Hammond Collection T-Rex. Are we talking dragon for like Dungeons and Dragons? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do a lot more Dungeons and Dragon toys. I mean, I guess that's possible, but I guess we'll have to see. I don't see something like a super. I'm not sure which one of the Hammond Collection. Oh, the T-Rex. Yeah. So I don't know. It'd be interesting. Jay the Grind says definitely going to be a last day push. Like Dungeons and Dragons, like that's another one of those panels that's really short. So like Power Rangers, like I don't think we're going to see hardly anything for Power Rangers. Probably just that Omega set that I think is going to be the PulseCon exclusive. I really am not sure we're going to get a whole lot more in regards to Lightning Collection stuff. I've heard some people, and I haven't really been following that closely, so I don't know, but I heard some people like say like Power Rangers was going on hiatus or something with Hasbro, so I don't know. But definitely, I'm not expecting much in the Power Rangers for new reveals on Power Rangers. So let me flip over. So, oh, and we got For GI Joe, I'm wondering if we're gonna see if we might see, even though this is Super 7, I'm wondering if we might see the this mothership. Hasbro's been pushing Super 7 products, you know, Power Rangers and stuff. So I feel like maybe we could see this talked about tomorrow during the GI Joe panel. This is definitely a reaction. This is the vehicle that they had on display at San Diego Comic Con. You can see it here. Kyle Peterson. This image is via Kyle Peterson. He's got a YouTube channel on here, so you might want to check him out. But this is the reaction Cobra mothership. So I think these trouble bubbles are like Hasbro trouble bubbles. I don't think these are reaction trouble bubbles, but I'm not entirely sure. I wasn't there. I didn't see it in person, so I don't know. Now my question about this mothership is like, is this just like a solid piece, or is this going to open up somehow and you're going to have stuff inside? So that's my big question is, you know, how is this going to work? Is it an actual play set, or is it just like a solid piece of plastic that looks like, you know, the mothership from the opening credits of GI Joe? As far as what we're going to see for GI Joe, I feel like, I mean, we're going to get some more digital renders and some more name releases, but I think the main focus is going to be this new wave with Buzzer. So you know, these are the digital renders that they showed us previously. We've got General Hawk, and it's funny coincidence that I swear to God, when I first saw this digital render for General Hawk, I thought this face looked like Dan Larson, and Dan Larson, of course, is hosting PulseCon tomorrow. So I don't know, maybe coincidence. I don't know. Shockwave. So all these I think are going to be going up for pre-order tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Agent Helix, and then Buzzer's buddy Ripper, which means we just need Torch to round out the original Dreadnoks to go with Zartan. So I think that's going to be the next wave. You know, Amazon put up some placeholders for these. I guess they've taken them down now, but they had placeholder pages up for all these figures. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be the next wave that's going to go up for pre-order tomorrow. And I gotta say, you know, to me, GI Joe continues to be like the thing I'm most personally excited about. As far as you know, as far as what I'm collecting. So I've been getting a number of new GI Joe figures coming in. So I just got this the other day. The Snow Serpent from Big Bad Toy Store. I got two of these guys. Definitely a pretty sweet figure. I don't really like the wolf head. I'm not really into the wolf head thing. You know, I understand it would keep him warm and stuff, but I don't really like that. So I like the look without the cape and the wolf head thing. But definitely cool. I'm still waiting on Snow Job. Snow Job is supposed to be here on Saturday from Hasbro Pulse. It was going to be here on Friday, and then I guess FedEx delayed it. So right now it's slated to, Snow Job is slated to arrive on Saturday, which happens to be my birthday. So it's kind of a birthday gift. And then the Cobra Eel, this is another nice one. Really liking this. I got my Trouble Bubble from Hasbro Pulse. That was I had a lot of these GI Joe figures waiting for me when I got back from Florida this last time. So like I had a ton of packages that had piled up. Like I was in Florida for like 5 weeks. So I had like, when I came home, I had like my whole dining room table was just nothing but boxes. I've opened and I got them all open. Like I took the week, like that first weekend I was back, I took it and like I opened everything because I was like, yeah, if I let this stuff like sit here and not open it, it's never gonna get open. Sean says got the Snow Job and Trouble Bubble in this week. Both are bangers. Yeah, I like the Trouble Bubble. It would have been nice if Hasbro had included a flight stand. I will tell you that if you have any kind of like Hot Toys flight stands, that works pretty well. You can set, you know, those ones that kind of have the little curve in it, the two wires that have the curve. So that works pretty well. You can kind of just sit the Trouble Bubble in it if you're looking for like a good flight stand that will support the Trouble Bubble. That's what I'm using in my display case as a Hot Toys for like an Iron Man figure. I'm using that. So just a note if you're looking for some type of flight stand that works pretty well. Lord Wenger, thank you, man. 51. I can't, used to be you get excited for your birthdays, and like now I'm like, yeah, I just as soon not have another birthday. Thank you, Michael. Jerry says, was not able to order snow job. Snow Hoth Trooper will be my snow job. Well, I've seen it in. Didn't it come back in stock recently? I don't know. I'm sure you'll get another shot at him if it's just that you missed out on getting him before he sold out. Did kind of suck that Snow Job was a Pulse exclusive. Michael says next figure will be Black Series Ezra Bridger from Ahsoka. That's a good figure. I'm pretty happy with my Rebels animated series version of the Rebels characters, including like Thrawn and Ahsoka and stuff. So like I may get, if they give us, the washed out Jedis as figures, and that's weird stormtrooper that has a face for a faceplate. I'm sure they're gonna do a figure of him. I forget his name, but and probably a lot of those other stormtroopers that we saw in the latest episode. Sorry, I guess that might be spoilers for some, but what, that came out on Tuesday, so hopefully most of you have seen the new episode of Ahsoka. But I've really been digging Ahsoka for the most part. I'm not sure where Ahsoka's gonna go because like we don't see any of these characters, come the sequels. So not that we saw them in the original series in it either. Like they just disappear when the movies come along. But it'll be interesting to see where they kind of how they end things with this series. But so far I've been digging it pretty good. Articulated Doom, thank you, man. Sean says using some acrylic pedestal stands for the Trouble Bubble. Robo Geek says Soka's isn't too bad. Yeah, I mean, I like it. It's got more of a Star Wars feel. I mean, I guess it's just because I was a fan of the Rebels cartoon. I like the Rebels cartoon, and I like Clone Wars, of course. So to me, it's just kind of a continuation of Rebels. So I think that's why I like it. But again, it really will depend on where they take things because that's what I'm most interested in. I was half expecting like Grogu to come riding into the rescue on one of those space whales, because he was checking those space whales out in the last season of Mandalorian. So I was half expecting Grogu to show up. Tiglu says that stormtrooper. I think it's actually based on like a Roman type soldier character. Yeah, I think there were Roman soldiers that wore masks like that. So I think there is some basis of that. I don't know what the explanation of why this guy is wearing the mask, but I do think it's actually based on actual like Roman attire and such. I won't swear to it, but I think so. Like at first, I was almost like, is that going to be Ezra under the mask? Like I was thinking maybe, because I'm like, why did they give this one stormtrooper this type of mask that we've never ever seen before? And I'm like, there's got to be a reason for it. There's got to be a backstory for it. So I'm sure we'll get that at some point. Uncarded Review says it's West from the experience. So besides GI Joe, besides Hasbro Marvel Legends, well, Star Wars, I'm expecting Black Series and Vintage Collection, probably more Ahsoka reveals. Like I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we don't see some of those stormtroopers that we saw in this last episode announced as figures during PulseCon. So I would not be surprised with that. Sean says, my one gripe is where's Luke Skywalker? I agree with you, man. I'm like, where all these Jedi are running around, and where the frack is Luke Skywalker? I mean, uh, you know, come on. Or even like Han Solo and Princess Leia. And the other thing I don't like, and this is true for like a lot of these current series, why is the New Republic portrayed as such freaking idiots? Like I mean, I guess it's somewhat realistic since we know they don't last very long. We know, that, basically the Empire returns and everything. But I'm like, why is the New Republic being portrayed as like such dumbasses? And it's like it kind of like takes away. It's like, the original movies, like they fought so hard to overthrow the Empire, and then they put these idiots in power that can't do anything, and it's like, what was the point of all this? Robo Geek agrees with me. Ezra, yeah, I mean, it just like it was like, oh, that's got to be Ezra, right? And I won't pass final judgment on Ezra, but like out of all the cartoon characters that have now been turned into live action characters, Ezra so far has been my least favorite. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem very Ezra like to me, but maybe he'll grow on me as we see him more in like the next episode. But and I was glad to see that Thrawn was the same actor, the voice actor from the cartoon. Because to me, I mean, obviously, for those of us who read the original Timothy Zahn books, that's where we were first introduced to Thrawn. But as far as like canon Thrawn, Rebels and Thrawn, the best thing about him was the voice. So I'm glad they brought him back to continue to voice and be Thrawn in the movie. I will say he's a little more heavy set. Like Thrawn was pretty skinny guy in the cartoon and everything, and Thrawn seems to have packed on a few pounds, but I'm definitely glad that they brought him back. Of course, if they ever bring Luke back, I wonder. My guess is they'll end up recasting him instead of trying to de-age him. Michael says maybe Ezra will look like the new figure in the finale. Maybe, but I think the new figure was based on like that hologram that we saw in like the first episode. I think that's what they based it on, which really doesn't make sense because that when he made that hologram, he would have been a kid still, and the figure really looks more like an adult. So I don't know. And is Sabine gonna give him his lightsaber back? And oh, and that's the other thing I don't like that they're trying to make Sabine a Jedi. I'm like, she has never exhibited any kind of force abilities or anything. So how the hell is she supposed to be a Jedi in some way? So I even when like Kanan and Ezra were training her with the dark saber, there was no indication whatsoever that she was a Jedi. But now she's supposed to be a Jedi, and I don't really like that. So what do you guys think of this deluxe Green Goblin figure that the images mysteriously popped up online the other day? I hate, like, if you've got if I don't know how this person got this figure in their hands, but it's like, why have you not opened the figure up and taken pictures of the damn thing out of the packaging? It's like that always seems to happen. It's like, here, let me take pictures of the box, but I'm not going to open the figure and I'm not going to actually show the figure itself. It's like I don't really care how they got the figure, but if you're gonna start taking pictures and throwing it up online, show us the whole figure, man. I mean, come on. But at least from the box pictures and everything, it looks pretty good. Get the two different head sculpts. I'm glad to see we are getting an unmasked, version. That's supposed to be the figure inside, our one picture of the actual figure. I hope this isn't a store exclusive. I hope this is like a general release, or at least like a fan channel release. I hope this isn't like some Target exclusive or something. And then we find that. Yeah, Hasbro already started teasing their Doc Ock figure in their last live stream. I'm trying to find. Yeah, so we had these images of Doc Ock's coat pop up. So, and Hasbro teased this in their last live stream. So I'm thinking this is a Build-A-Figure. I mean, it could be another deluxe figure, but I feel like this is probably going to be the Build-A-Figure for the No Way Home wave. Here he says he's got the Toy Biz. I still have the toy. I mean, well, Toy Biz did a couple of versions of. Oh, you talking about the movie Doc Ock? Actually, I don't think I have the Toy Biz movie Doc Ock. I used to have some of the movie figures, but I don't know what happened to them. But I don't have any of the old Toy Biz like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man figures. I haven't seen anyone. I don't think that's a fake custom, and I haven't seen anyone confirm that. That box is it's pretty dead on to Hasbro, so maybe, but I don't think so. I'm pretty sure Hasbro's doing a Green Goblin. Gnarly says we need some comic Marvel Legend reveals. We've gotten quite a few comic figures. In fact, all those Avengers 60th anniversary figures are already going on discount at Target, like half price. And I'm sure Amazon's going to put them on discount, come the holidays. So I don't know. I'm wait. I'm gonna. I gotta be honest. I want to get the Sky Cycle, but I decided I was just gonna wait till I get it. Until it goes on discount. So because I want it, to go with the video game. It's a nice display piece to go with the video game. And I might get a couple of the others, like the Thor with the Destroyer. But yeah, I mean they're already going on discount, so at Target. So, but I mean Hasbro's definitely done a lot of comic figures this year. So not the ones that I want to have made, mind you, because like I'm still waiting for them to give us Feral and Wolfsbane to finish out X Force and X Factor. I'm still waiting to get Phoenix to finish out the Excalibur team. Box to go with Alpha Flight. See who else. We're getting a Vance Astro figure for New Warriors, but it's not really the classic Vance Astro that goes along with the rest of the New Warrior figures that Hasbro's already done. So I may even not get that one and hope that Hasbro gives us a more classic version of Vance. But I definitely want to finish out my New Warriors team. So, we got a lot of comic figures, but definitely would like to see um definitely would like to see some of those guys get announced here in the near future. RoboGeek likes Joe Fixit and needs Professor Hulk. The Hulk one, just for Bruce Banner, is another one I probably will get when it goes on discount. I did get the Joe Fixit figure. I got that one. I always liked Joe Fixit. That was one of my favorite versions of the Hulk. So Jerry said, yeah. They'll release Feral, Wolfbane, and Rachel for $40 deluxe figure. I hope not. More likely, though, what they'll do is they'll release them in box sets with figures that we already have, like Like you'll have to get 3 figures you already have to get 2 figures that you don't want. So, or that you want. So that's what, more likely what they're going to end up doing with those characters. Oh, excuse me. Michael says Tom Spider-Man and the rumor No Way Home. If it's the suit at the end of the movie, then he might get it. I gotta be I because I had to make room on my shelf for more GI Joe classified figures. I actually put my like I had a shelf dedicated to like MCU figures, all the MCU figures after Avengers Endgame. I have a shelf with like all the figures up to Avengers Endgame, but I ended up taking all the figures, all the MCU figures on the shelf of, movies and TV shows and stuff after Endgame and put most of them in a bin. I kept a couple of them out, like Moon Knight, which I really liked, my custom US agent, and like the She-Hulk figure was pretty good too. But most of those MCU figures I ended up putting in a bin so I could make room for more GI Joe classified stuff. I have not. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I have not been feeling Marvel Legends as much. I've not been that excited for Marvel Legends nearly as much. Like I said, GI Joe has really been one of my focals for. I've cut back a lot. If you want an honest opinion, I've cut back on getting a lot of stuff, but just Marvel Legends, it just I don't know. It's not just like price. And I really the packaging has never been a big deal to me since I buy most of my stuff online. So, but I don't know. The MCU stuff has just really not been doing much for me. And then, like, even a lot of the comic stuff, it's just like, I guess because they've been doing a lot more of the newer characters, which since I don't really read comics anymore, I quit reading comics, several years ago. So a lot of the newer characters that they end up doing, I just not usually as interested in. So I got the Black Widow. Like right now, I got the Black Widow figure from Target, and I got the Bucky cap from Walmart. Those are the only two Avengers anniversary figures so far that I've gotten. And that Black Widow figure is definitely a good figure. Are you talking about the comic US agent? Yeah, that one I definitely got. That was a great figure in my opinion. Like says, always pick and choose Marvel Legends based on my favorite figures. I've never bought a full wave. I used to buy, especially like when I wanted to build a figure, but it's been a long time since I've bought a full wave of Marvel Legends. And a lot of times the build a figures, even if it's got a build a figure that maybe I kind of like, unless it's like on discount, yeah, I don't know. John says, is anyone even a bit excited for the Marvels? Well, I'll be waiting for that to come out on Disney Plus. So I got to be honest, I have not even finished watching the Secret Invasion series. I started it, but then I ended up going to Florida for my dad, and I just not come back to it. So I I did finally see Guardians of the Galaxy 3 on Disney Plus. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was great, and I definitely was glad that I just waited and watched it on Disney Plus. So even like I mean the Ant-Man movie was okay, and I liked Kang, and thought maybe there was some potential here. Of course, I don't even know what's going on, since the actor has come under, I don't, and I haven't even really been following that. So like, I you know I don't know what's gonna happen with the actor who played Kang. So I mean, I know Loki, the new season of Loki is going to be starting early next month, and that looks pretty good. So I probably will check that out. But but again, just like much of the MCU stuff has just again ever since Avengers Endgame, I've just not found nearly that interesting. Tiglu says Aquaman 2 looks interesting. That's another one I can't say that I will say I did not like I did not like the first Aquaman movie very much. So I will say that from the trailer, the second one looks better, but not like, ooh, I'm super excited. And like I had gotten pretty hyped for Flash, and I did like the Michael Keaton parts of that movie, but overall I did not think that was a very good movie. I've not yet seen Blue Beetle. I think that's going to be out on home release pretty soon here, so I'll watch it when it comes out. But I don't know. It's just like, I guess, I mean, movie. I don't know. I've not yet seen the new Indiana Jones movie. I'm waiting for that to come out like on Paramount Plus or something. I know you can buy it for like $20, but I'm just gonna wait because it just like that movie got such bad ratings and bombed so badly that I just have not been excited. I did finally see Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, and that's another one that was like, yeah, it's okay, but it's pretty much it's like they've done this a million times in these Transformer movies, so there really wasn't anything like Unicron to me seemed completely pointless. Like he was like a cool visual for like 2 minutes, but he really didn't seem to add much to the movie. And I feel like even though I've never been a huge Beast Wars fan, I felt like, this really didn't feel like Beast Wars. It just was like, let's throw all these characters into this movie so that people will watch. So I don't know. I just, again, it was okay, but I'm glad I didn't go to the movie theater and pay to see it. I'm glad I just waited for it to come out on Paramount Plus. John says, I can't believe the first Aquaman movie made $1 billion. Jerry says, I like Aquaman 1. It's one of my favorite DC, better than Flash and Shazam 2. You see, I don't know. And I mean, I'll admit that I've never been like a huge Aquaman fan. So, I mean, that probably is part of it. I, I, I like Shazam 1 better than 2. Again, I waited for Shazam 2 to come out on HBO, Max. So, and it again was okay, but it was like, yeah, this isn't anything fantastic. I don't know. It's just been a long while since any movie has really kind of like knocked my socks off. And I've been like, oh, wow, this is like really great. Like, I think there's been better TV series and shows and stuff than there has been movies in like the past year or so. I don't know. I guess because a lot of studios and stuff turn their focus to streaming services. So, like I watched a Netflix movie with Gal Gadot where she was like this worked for this super secret spy organization, and I mean, wasn't like a fantastic movie, but it wasn't bad. It was a pretty good action popcorn type flick. I forget the name of it though. Now, now that I mentioned, Rashid says the Flash movie caused a debate in my house. Yeah, Guardian again to me. Guardians was so first of all, it was basically just like a rocket origin story, and I thought it was okay. I mean, I didn't like hate it, but I didn't think it was like a great movie either. Of course, I didn't really like the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie that much either. I mean, it played a role in getting us to Avengers Endgame, but as far as the movie itself, I wasn't a huge. The first Guardians I thought was pretty good, but I don't know. I just guess I'm not a huge Guardians fan in general. And like to me, like Adam Warlock, really, what was the point of him? And I didn't really like the High Evolutionary. Like I didn't like how they changed him. So I don't know. John says that's why I recently turned to anime. Origin Star, nice settled. Igloo says Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is his favorite. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the first one was the best in my opinion, but again, I guess like with Ego, I just didn't really like how they kind of portrayed that character. I mean, I like Kurt Russell, but I'm trying to think what else. And of course, with the writer's strike, I mean, who knows when we're gonna see like any actual real new content? You know, right now we're just seeing stuff that was already made before the strike, but that strike's gonna delay, and it's still going on. So that writer's strike is gonna delay things for God knows how long. All right, well, so we talked about PulseCon, we talked about HasLab, though we talked about the HasLab Giant Man briefly, but like, so how many of you guys have actually backed the Giant Man or are going to back the Giant Man? You know, do you think it's a good HasLab? And you know, like I say, are you backing it or no? I am still on the fence, but I am still leaning towards no, mainly because a couple reasons. So I mean the price doesn't bother me, and I think it's a nice looking figure. So don't you know? But it's Giant Man's never been a favorite character of mine. I have the Toy Biz Giant Man, and I actually kind of prefer that size over like a super duper tall Giant Man because I just don't have a really good place to display that with like my other Avengers figures. Like I can fit the 12-inch, you know, build a figure Giant Man on my shelf with my other Avenger figures, but I would have to find a whole new type of shelf or something to display a big giant tall super tall Giant Man like that. So I just, you know, between it just Giant Man is not, you know, I've always, as far as Hank Pym goes, I actually like I like the red jumpsuit Hank Pym that we got in the West Coast Avenger box set. Um, but I don't know. So I am probably not going to back it again, not because I think it's a bad figure or that I think that it's overpriced or anything like that. It's just not appealing enough to me personally because of the character and stuff that it's worth getting to me for me. And I mean, I'm finding myself passing on a lot of these huge giant items like the Cat Slayer. I mean, I was tempted by getting Super Seven's Cat Slayer, but I have nowhere to put it. I mean, I barely found a place to put the Thunder Tank, but I just have absolutely no place to put that Cat Slayer. So I mean, I could move others, like I could get rid of other stuff, like I could put stuff in a bin and stuff to make room, but it's like, I don't know, it just didn't really feel like it was worth spending the money on. So, you know, I passed on the Cat Slayer. I didn't get the Ghost Ship. Again, space, kind of an issue. I got the, you know, Razor Crest, which I display that up in my upstairs office, but I would have a hard time finding a good place for the Ghost. If they had done that Ghost like back when the Rebels cartoon was out, and I was like, because I collected all those Rebel ships and stuff, even though those were kind of made a little bit more for the kids. You know, they weren't quite collector grade, but you know, I still got most of those Rebels vehicles and stuff. So if they had done the Ghost back then, I probably would have gotten it. But now I'm just like, yeah, I think I'll pass on it. RoboGeek says Fing Fang Foom HasLab I would have gone in for, however. I definitely I would have rather seen Foom myself. I think if they had done a Fing Fang Foom, even if it had been more expensive, and it probably would have, I would probably have been in on a Fing Fang Foom. I don't have I didn't get the one that they did previously, and that's one that you know I kind of would like to see a little bit bigger. So that definitely I would have been more interested in myself. Jerry says, I'm happy with the Toy Biz Build-A-Figure, but if you don't have the Build-A-Figure, don't miss this one. It looks good. CM Brock said, had to back the Cat Slayer, didn't even hesitate. I mean, I think, if you've got the space for it, I think it's definitely, it's cool. Um, yeah, there are times where I wish I had gotten like the Masters of the Universe classic Snake Mountain playset. I don't really miss I don't have any of those classic playsets. I don't have the Castle Grayskull. I don't have the Snake Mountain, And I don't really care about the Castle Grayskull, but there are times where I look at like the one Super 7 did for the Snake Mountain. I'm like, man, I wish I had gotten that. But again, I just, even if I had, I just don't really have the space for it. So, and I'm sure with the Thundercats layer, there'll be times where I regret it, but overall, I think it's probably the best decision not to have gotten it. Though I wouldn't, like, I have a feeling places like Big Bad Toy Store will end up selling it. It might be more expensive than what it was through Super 7, but I have a feeling that, like, if you missed out on the crowdsourcing, you might get another shot at it down the road. RoboGeek says, underwearless Foom preferably. Now Coco disagrees. He says Foom must have pants. Soft goods so you can remove them would work for me. Okay, let's get a little freaky. Removing the dragon shorts. Chris says the classic Snake Mountain is awesome. Tarek says Foom with classic head, removable purple shorts, and some flame effects would be perfect. I'd say 27 inches for Foom would be appropriate. He should be bigger than a Sentinel. Like 27 inches tall, man, that would be. I definitely think it should be, if they were going to do a HasLab one, it should definitely be bigger than the two-wave Build-A-Figure one that they did. But man, I mean, I don't disagree with you that would be cool, but that would be that would take up a lot of space. I you know I hadn't even thought about the purple shorts until you guys brought it up here. I wonder who came up. Let's put purple shorts on this dragon. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It will almost definitely cost more than what Super 7 was selling it for, but I do think, you'll start to see it pop up on some online e-tailers. Well, 27 inches wide, I could maybe see, but 27 inches tall, I don't know if he meant wide or tall, but Ben from the bunker, would they ever do Foom if they can't fund Giant Man? Well, I mean, you know, look at Star Wars. Star Wars has multiple failed campaigns and they still keep putting them out. So I would guess that it's certainly possible. Like, if Giant Man doesn't get funded, I don't think that will be the end of Marvel Legend HasLabs. I think that we will end up still seeing another one next year. But definitely, I have a feeling those Marvel Legend guys are kind of like biting their teeth, praying that the thing gets funded because, well, all the other brands and their HasLabs this year have gotten funded. Transformers, GI Joe. GI Joe did the best. I mean, it got funded in like less than like what, a couple days. So the GI Joe one I think performed the best this year, but it got funded. The Star Wars one this year got funded. So if Marvel Legends comes up empty this year for a second year in a row, that's definitely not going to be good for the brand team. I still think it will get funded. You always get those big boosts at the end, and like you never know if Hasbro's adding in, like, they end up having places that overseas that will sell it, and so you never know if those aren't going to get added in until the very end. And so I think it will get funded, but I do think it's going to be one of those that kind of takes, I won't say like literally the last day to get to 10,000, but I definitely think it's going to be in the final weeks before it actually gets to 10,000. Pablo says, what IP do you think has the most potential for HasLabs? Well, right now, like I said, both both last year and this year, GI Joe seems to have had the most popular HasLabs, but I do feel like, and I think the reason for that is, well, I honestly think as far as like collectors go, GI Joe is one of Hasbro's best lines right now. I think you see more positivity with GI Joe collectors and GI Joe Classified. I mean, Marvel Legends is just like the fandom for Marvel Legends is in a lot of ways has kind of gone very sour. So, and I think the lack of the movies being super successful since Avengers Endgame has played kind of a role in people having less enthusiasm about Marvel stuff. I mean, I'm certainly not saying Marvel Legends is dead or anything like that, but I definitely feel like the appeal of Marvel Legends has gone down and GI Joe has gone up. Star Wars is kind of hit or miss. I mean, to me, Star Wars has a lot of potential if they could do things like a Death Star playset. I mean, I still can't believe after all these years of HasLabs, we have not yet gotten a Death Star playset from Hasbro. It still just baffles my mind. So I think there are definitely things that Hasbro could do that probably they could get sold pretty easily. But then again, there's other things like the Rancor and stuff that I think they might try and do and have another failure. So, and I think when it comes like to most lines these days, like 6 inch is king. But I think with Star Wars, you've actually started to see a surge of 3 and 3/4 inch collectors. Star Wars being more popular with the older, smaller figures and stuff than the 6 inch stuff. I don't know why that is, but I feel like most lines again 6 inch these days is king, but Star Wars seems to kind of reverted back to having more collectors interested in vintage collection stuff and things like that. RoboGeeks needs Leo for Transform. See, to me, I mean, Transformers has yet to have a failed campaign, so they seem to be doing pretty good. But like, I can't really think of much that I would be interested in for Transform. Like, I got Unicron, obviously, but that's the only Hasbro HasLab Transformer one that I've purchased. So I've passed on all the others, but and I mean for me, granted, like I'm pretty limited in what I collect for Transformers. I'm pretty much straight up just a G1 guy. So if it's not like like classic G1, it doesn't interest me that much. So T-Glue says a retooled Fortress Maximus. I mean, that one that they did was pretty damn good. I mean, I'm sure if they did a HasLab, they could probably make it bigger, but I just want my final. I still need Snarl for Dinobots, and then they need to get out Swoop. I'm thinking we might get a Swoop announcement at PulseCon this tomorrow. So Dinobot Studio Series Swoop, hopefully will be one of the reveals. Um, I found Brawn and the Shrapnel Insecticon. So I've got Kickback and Shrapnel. I just need Bombshell now for the Insecticons. And that new Brawn that they did, that's pretty. I mean, that's like I put that one with my masterpiece Transformers. That one was pretty good. Douglas says, vintage collection has won him over for Star Wars. More potential for vehicles and playsets. Yeah, I really, it's weird because like everything else, Marvel, GI Joe, Power Rangers, 6 inch is king, but Star Wars, I mean, Black Series was pretty popular for a while, but I think a lot of people have kind of lost interest in Black Series and have kind of turned back to vintage collection. I mean, I think that's a good point that you do have more potential for vehicles and stuff with the smaller scale, but like Hasbro tried to bring back 3 and 3/4 inch GI Joe, but that seemed to kind of fall on its face. So everyone right now, I think, is just really like tuned into the 6-inch GI Joe vehicles. You know, I think there will get a point where like people are going to start running out of space and stuff for 6-inch scale GI Joe vehicles. So, you know, I don't think, you know, and I don't think we'll ever see like a USS Flag or anything like that. But uh, but yeah, right now, I mean, like I said, when it comes to GI Joe, I think 6-inch is king. But when it comes to Star Wars, 3 3/4 inch seems to be the preferred scale these days. There's a new Metroplex. Yeah, I did not get the while it was pretty nice, I did not get the last Metroplex that they did. I still have my G1, my original G1 Metroplex, but I did not get the one. Oh yeah, we definitely we need, yep, gears, wind charger. We need a good, I'd like to see a better cliff jumper. I mean, the last one they did wasn't too bad, but he's a little bit small. Sam Brock says Black Series needs to update their figures. Jerry bringing in McFarlane liking the 7-inch McFarlane. Bite your tongue, son. Remember, remember when everyone hated McFarlane for doing 7-inch and not 6-inch? Jason says, "I big it." Yeah, that's true. But I mean, the vintage collection stuff isn't exactly what I would call cheap, and a lot of that stuff gets released as exclusives as well. It just seems to sell better. So I don't know. Jerry says, "Class Cliff Jumper 2.0 was good," and I missed the Cosmo one. The one they did as the Walmart exclusive. I never found that one. We need a new Power Glide and a better Warpath. Jerry says he did too, but 7-inch has grown on him. I never minded the 7-inch. I don't really display my Marvel Legends with DC figures, so I never really mind the 7-inch. I will tell you that I'm pretty like McFarlane DC stuff. I'm definitely very, you know, I pick up a few here and there, but I definitely nowhere near being a completist for that line. Um, and the diaper crotch on a lot of the figure, like I saw the Captain Atom figure at Walmart when I was in Florida, and I was like, at first I had wanted to get that figure, and then I was like, oh my god, that diaper crotch looks horrible on that figure. So I ended up passing on that one. They need to update that diaper crotch because it just ends up a lot of those figures. It just looks pretty bad. All right, well, we're coming up on 8 o'clock, so I think we're going to call it a night. But once again, thanks for everyone who's joined in and chimed in. It's good just to talk toys with you guys, get my mind off things. Of course, tomorrow HasLab PulseCon, so hopefully we will see some cool things. I, my prediction is that even though the GI Joe panel is only 30 minutes, which I'm a little bummed about. I wish that one was more like 40, 45, but I think in my view, GI Joe is probably going to steal the show. Though I do think if they do show those like No Way Home Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures, a lot of people are going to be pretty excited for those. So I think a lot of people will probably like that as well. Star Wars, you know, I don't know. I hope we see some cool, you know, I hope we see a bunch of figures from like the latest episode of Ahsoka, but who knows? You never know with Star Wars. But hopefully it'll be cool. Hopefully we'll see some cool reveals. Of course, full coverage up on the websites if you're not able to sit there during the day at work watching the live stream, then we'll have full coverage with highlights up on the sites. And then I probably will get out a news video tomorrow afternoon covering everything as well. So hopefully you will check that out as well. As always, guys, stay safe out there. Have a great weekend. Subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video, of course. And until next time, guys, I will catch you later.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News message boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great.